Here we go with day number 5 of my OTB Master Study Plan. If you're wondering, hey Matt, why are you wearing the exact same outfit and it looks like the same time of day as day 4, you're being way too observant. Alright, so let's see if I can beat this 31 score, which was my score from day 4 of the study plan, about a half hour ago. I need to go fast. That's the key. And probably silently. That was a weird puzzle. I think it was a queen fork next, but it's not intuitive at all. Love the back rank puzzles. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't know what I missed there. Okay, check. Oh boy, now I'm getting thrown off. This could be a really bad run. This could be a really bad run. Now I'm afraid of getting it wrong. Oh, that was so bad. Okay, let's try them. Let's retry them. What am I missing here? This is not going to be good for my 15-10 game after this. I mean, I could throw in the knight check. Bishop takes. I don't understand this one. Did I just get bad puzzles, or am I just missing everything? Yeah, I get it, but it's not like it's not a typical puzzle. It doesn't have the satisfactory ending. All right. So I walked this way, but I should have walked towards the rook. Makes sense. What was going on with this puzzle? So make the queen. I wanted to check and try to win the queen, but where do you check from? Or get a queen trade. This check must be it, and then take the pawn with check. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Alright, well, I'm not hiding my bad puzzle runs. I'm showing you guys everything. So that one was a 17. Now let's jump into a game and hopefully that 17 score does not carry over to my play. So I'm going to fire up a 15 plus 10. And I think as long as it says I get 1 rating point from the game, we'll be okay with their rating. This one's a plus 8. I played e4 last time. I still want to kind of stick with e4. I think the games are a little more exciting, and I'm working on an e4 course. All right, let's go with an open Sicilian again. It's kind of like what we had last game. Very similar. So far, it's identical. Queen takes d4. Knight c6, and then bishop to b5 is played. a6, I know you're supposed to play c4. If queen here, there's like a forced queen trade line. Take, 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 take. Bishop d7, you take, and then bring the knight out, bishop, queenside castle, and try to attack kingside. So I'm expecting bishop to d7. And let's check this player's rating. Blitz rating. 1819. Yeah, so I don't think I need pawn to c4 here. Oh, that was bad. I don't think I want pawn c4 here. I think I just want the quick queenside castle and then try to attack over here. And if knight f6, there's this really cool move, bishop g5. Because there's no g6, I'm actually going to take the knight. And if e6, I'm going to queenside castle, and I have e5 ideas later. Well, now I'm thinking maybe I need to make this queen takes d4 line the e4 course recommendation. Let me know in the comments what you think of that. Should I make this 4 queen takes d4 line the recommended option in the new ChessGoals e4 course I'm currently building? I've gone through 2 of the chapters already on e4, e5. I have 2 more chapters with e5 as the reply. But then after that, I'm going to move into the Sicilian, so I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on that. I was thinking originally the c3 Sicilian, but I'm really enjoying the kingside attacks that we're getting out of the e4, e5 repertoire, which is the Scotch is what I'm recommending. So I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe I should stick with something similar in style to the Scotch and have like nice kingside attack positions. Okay, this feels wrong to me, but I don't know if there's a great way to punish it. My first instinct is to take here, take, but I don't know if I want to go into an endgame. b2 is being attacked. I mean, it might be instructive. Just take it into an endgame 2 knights against 2 bishops and see what happens. Otherwise, I'm looking at queen d2. If queen takes b2, maybe I can castle kingside, be a pawn sacrifice. Or maybe queen d3, keep this pawn defended. So queen d3, queen takes b2. Castle. E or G pawn has to move. I do have E5 idea. Oh, and knight d4 hitting this bishop. Let's try this. It's pawn sacrifice on b2. Maybe we can have some fun with this. So if queen takes b2, I'm going to castle kingside, and black still has to figure out how to get that f8 bishop out. So I'm really playing for the development here. I like to think in terms of imbalances. I'll be down 1 point of material. Black does have the bishop pair advantage, but I'm going to go for quick development and see if I can get after black's king. I'm trying to think, if queen takes b2, is there any reason to insert rook b1 first? I don't think so. I feel like it's better to just castle. Castling just seems so straightforward. So queen takes b2, castle. And then I would like rook b1, maybe rook b3. Or bring the other rook to b1. Knight d4 is also tempting. So black's got to figure out which pawn to move. I think g6 I probably take and ruin the pawn structure this way. e5 is also very interesting. Take, knight takes. That could be a way to try to open the position while this king is still in the middle. And if I can get that bishop off of c6, this pawn becomes weaker and this diagonal becomes weaker. So either knight d4 straight away or e5, trying to get this trade in and then hit the bishop. I'm going to have to do a day of just Puzzle Rush. That Puzzle Rush score was so low. And I think it shows that I'm a little bit rusty on the tactics. Like, I haven't been playing Blitz yet. And looking ahead in my study plan, there will be... Week 4 will be a week of a lot of 3-0 Blitz. And I think if my Puzzle Rush scores aren't getting better by then, I'm going to have a lot of trouble in Blitz. I'll be falling for quite a few tactics. Okay, knight back to d7. This is slow. That king is not getting any closer to developing. Knight e5 must be the plan. What I'd like to do is play knight d4. Oh, knight d5 is interesting. Threatens knight to c7 with a fork. A4 is kind of sneaky, threatening a queen trap, but knight c5 is going to be played. So how do I get ready for knight c5? Knight d5 just feels like the right move to me. Because knight c5, I can move my queen again. there is a lot of benefit in terms of getting new pieces developed. I'm always a big fan of developing a new piece. So maybe I should first be looking at kicking that queen around a little bit. Maybe we put her back on a5. And then knight c5 would fork the queen and rook. So here, queen a3. I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place. Now I'm coming back to this idea. Knight d4, knight c5, queen e3, keeping this pawn defended twice. And I'm still threatening this knight takes c6. It seems pretty good. Let's go with it. Knight e5 is also an option. Could play queen g3 there, because I don't need my queen guarding this pawn. Knight c5, I do want the queen to defend this pawn. I'm still trying to figure out how will black get developed. g6 or e6. e5 gives me a really nice square for the knight. I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to go with this queen takes d4 line in the repertoire and just get good at it. Review all the lines, come up with some good recommendations. All right, knight e5. I was thinking queen g3. She sits pretty nicely over here. It just feels like the natural square. Queen kind of eyes the g7 pawn. Like, let's say the bishop is trying to come out this way. She also eyes d6. So I think g6 is going to be the way to get the bishop out. I do have f4 ideas. Oh, now something I'm looking at is rook here, knight b5. Bishop takes, knight takes, queen here. Can I create any tactics? Yeah, this is the move I have to be ready for. I'm a little surprised to see that. So I can get rid of that bishop. Knight takes back. Well, then I have knight d5. Okay, so pawn should take back. Black has to cover that d5 square. Bishop e3 is also tempting. Knight c4 could be played. Do I have any good moves with the knight? I don't think so. In the interest of time, I kind of want to play rook fd1. And then I want to play rook b1 next. So one thing that I've been trying to do too is keeping an eye on my opponent's clock and not getting too low in relation to my opponent. This is something I've been trying to do over the board as well. Like if my opponent plays very fast, I don't necessarily try to match their speed, but I don't want a scenario where I have 4 minutes and my opponent has 10, for example. Because then when a critical moment comes up, my opponent has the time to spend and I don't. So I do like to kind of use their time as a partial gauge for how much time I should have remaining. Yeah, so now I'm really looking to play rook a b1. I would expect g6, and then rook a to b1. Oh, queen h4 is interesting. g6, queen h4, or somehow pressuring this pawn on e7 so that black can't easily castle because I'll take. So maybe black will try h6 at some point, because if I come out, then g5 traps the bishop. But this could always drop back to e3 or f4. Yeah, that seems okay. And I still want rook a to b1, hitting the queen. If she comes to a6, then this c7 square would be a really nice knight fork. If she goes this way, then maybe knight b5, because the thing I would really love here is a knight on d5 that can't easily just be swapped off for that bishop. But whenever I take on c6, the pawn is going to take back. So it's going to take a little bit of work to figure out how to get this to happen. But black's also got to be careful with tactics. Like let's say this bishop is already on g7, but I have a rook here and a knight on b5. There could be a move like bishop takes e7, king takes, and just blow open the center. So black does have to be careful here. All right, there's g6. I mean, I think rook b1 just has to be the move. Oh yeah, okay, well, so if bishop e3, knight c4, if that bishop were here, I would have a really cool move, knight f5. I can't really make that work though. I can't force that to work. Let's go with rook b1. This one's playing on instinct a little bit. This just feels right. I'm also looking at a line like, let's say queen here. I could take bishop and rook b7, double attacking this pawn with rook and bishop. Okay, now I get this idea where maybe I can, yeah, maybe I can play knight b5 or knight d5, some combination of these moves. Like here, take, knight d5. Queen here. Rook takes bishop. Oh, that looks pretty nice. I'm also kind of looking at f4, seeing if the timing makes sense. f4 right away. Knight c4 or knight d7. Then f5. No, I think I really need to get that bishop off. Taking right away though, there's b takes. So let's go this route. If bishop takes, I think I want knight d5. And then I'm going to take on b5 with the rook. Okay. This feels wrong. This definitely does not look good for black. My rook is lined up with the queen. Oh, is this a tactic here? Knight takes d6 check. Pawn takes. Bishop f6, threatening to win the rook in the corner for free. Well, I dropped 2 points, but I'm threatening to win the rook for free after that. So I sack 2 points. If the rook moves, then bishop takes knight, and my rook pins the d6 pawn. Oh, wow. And there's no, like, counterattack on my queen. You know, this knight can't move hitting my queen. There's no minor piece that can attack her. So knight takes, pawn takes, bishop here. I think that works. Let's try it. So rook moves, bishop takes d6. I was down a pawn to start with. I did forget about that. So in the end, I won't be up anything. Queenside castle. But that king looks very open over there. I don't know if that's what black wants. Yeah, I was hoping to get more than even material out of this tactic. Be interesting to see what Stockfish says. But I'm also watching the clock. You know, I didn't want to drain that clock down to 3 minutes and then decide not to do the tactic. And I didn't think I could be any worse here. Now maybe black could try to trap my bishop in the end. f6. But my pieces are all well placed, and usually that can help out with these tactics. Oh, gotta be really careful with the right clicks. Pre-move queen f3. This is the move I have to calculate. Interesting. Queen trade offer. Why queen trade offer? So I could win the knight on e5, take queen and take back with the bish. Seems okay. But what's wrong with taking the rook? That's a full 5 points, and I don't see that bishop getting trapped because I'm on the knight. I don't think I'm missing anything here. Queen takes queen, pawn takes back, I'm on the knight. So I'm not getting trapped. I think my opponent made a mistake there. Rook g8 looked okay, but I might have been missing a tactic on my end. Because at first I thought black could queenside castle out of this. Queen takes g3, I'm taking with the h-pawn. One thing that black has is this bishop pair in the end. So I don't know if I'll be so quick to take that knight. I just wanted to show that I can't really get that bishop trapped because I have the capture of the knight. But I don't think I'll be quick to just trade off this bishop. Let's first poke at the rook. So that should save the bishop. Let's see where this rook goes. And then I'm thinking I want knight d5. Or do I go after this pawn somehow? f3 is interesting. f3, and I could slow play this a bit. Let's try it. Maybe rook e6, and then I'm going to bring the bishop back out. Bishop h6 could be a good move. Trying to come in here. Maybe trying to trap the bishop. But then, rook takes d6 is my idea. So I'm tying down that bishop to d6. King up. Okay, now this knight check looks really good. Or this knight check. Oh, which one's better? I don't know. I think this one, because the king's going to come here and maybe I can get a fork. Oh, but this one threatens the a pawn. Yeah, let's go this way. Threatens the a pawn and the d pawn. So king d7, I think I'd take a7. All right, now the bishop pair is gone for black. I think that was one of the keys for black getting counterplay. Now I'm not too worried about counterplay. I'm +2, which is up the exchange. Rook for knight. And I have active pieces, right? So I could take this knight with bishop takes, or I could try to keep the pieces on and play actively. All right, we see king up. I could double on B or double on D. Let's go this way, hitting the pawn. I think knight c4 is going to be played. And then I'll probably bring this rook up and try to get these rooks active. Or maybe this rook back. That might be better, because then if knight e3, I have rook here. You can't take that pawn because there's a fork. So that's a tempting move, knight e3. That is kind of trying to bait my opponent a little bit. And that'll get my rooks very active. And again, this bishop is tied down, so the bishop being tied down helps me out quite a bit. I might play rook d3 anyways. I kind of like the look of this move. I don't see any issues with it. b5, I'm probably going to check, send in the king back, and then try to work on the pawns. And I should relocate this bishop too. And that king is placed pretty nicely. Oh, so b5, maybe a4 straight away. If pawn takes pawn, I have rook here, trying to win the knight. Split second decision. You know, because I think these queenside pawns were looking kind of strong for black. All right. And now we're going to go after this pawn. It's a good move. Rook b8 can hold it. So my opponent's doing a good job holding this position. Let's see, so what's the best way that I can push forward? I could try rook here. It's more of a cheapo. Rook takes knight and then this rook hangs. Or I could see if I can swing the rook around. Let's do that. Because I think this rook on the first rank could either come to the A file or the H file. This idea of maybe king up, g4, g5, rook h1 might be one of the better plans in the position. Because I have these two pawns to block these two pawns. But what I need to do is make use of the extra rook. I should probably try to get g4 in before h5 is played. This looks really good though too, trying to come down to the 7th rank. There we see my opponent trying to guard along the 7th. Let's take a moment to play g4. Slow down that h5 idea. Also, if bishop h6, I might go g5. And if this trade happens, now the h-pawn is weak. So my rook is going to come over for this guy. What's the threat? I could also bring the rook up this way, try to win this pawn. And then if, yeah, so rook up here, if knight there, rook, other rook to d3, and this is double attacked. And if bishop check, I think I'm going to take. I'll take the 2 pieces for the rook. Because in the end, pawns are even, and I'll be up a whole bishop. And this pawn's about to drop. So I'm feeling pretty good with this endgame. I think the technique has been solid. Even though my opponent's doing a good job not creating any new weaknesses. This looks close to resignable. I don't really see a good plan for black. All right. I didn't mean to call it, but my opponent resigns. We had one guesser, 3 out of 6. One guesser was in the chat. All right, let's look in the analysis. Okay, this endgame was very smooth. But right here I missed something. Yeah, this felt kind of critical too. So I played knight d4. The other lines I was looking at were knight d5, rook b1, I wonder if knight d5 was the way to go. Because I get the half-open e-file if black takes. Yeah, knight d5. So I didn't like this move, but there's queen c4. Oh, queen e2 is best? All right, Stockfish, well, I see you're saying queen c4. Now the threat is knight c7 with the fork. So there's no time for black to offer a queen trade. Let's say rook c8. a4. Threatening to trap the queen. Wow. And if bishop takes, pawn takes. Get the queen to safety. Rook e1. So that's the kind of pressure I was looking for. Knight d5 on move 11. Very nice move. And if bishop takes right away, pawn takes, still get that same pressure. Like let's say g6. It's actually a big mistake. Rook b1. Actually, this queen is trapped. And if bishop g7, there's d4. So in this position, the queen has to move. But now I'll move like rook e1, and we have this really nice double attack. And it's hard to get the bishop out, and it's hard to get the king developed. So it only cost us one pawn to get all of this pressure. And rook b1 is coming, hitting this pawn. Yeah, these positions are really hard to play for the defending side. Alright, so I think that's the big takeaway for me, this knight d5 move. And if I'm going to be playing more of these queen takes d4 Sicilians, hopefully I'll get more comfortable in the positions and be able to find those critical moves. Because it looks like my opponent might have had a slight edge here. I don't know if I had full compensation for the pawn. But then the big slip up was right here with queen d7. Oh yeah, let's look at this tactic. So I was thinking rook g8. Bishop takes e5 and castle. I mean, I did like white here, but I would not have guessed 3.9. Bishop to d4, hitting the pawn. Let's say a king sidesteps. Queen e3. Let's say a6. Queen d3. King a8. Rook b6. Wow, so this attack is just coming really fast. Like, this is the threat. And if rook takes, there's knight d5. Yeah, this is completely over. Wow, what an attack. Alright, so black couldn't actually get away with that. My opponent must have appreciated that more than I did. Because I thought for sure rook g8 here. To me, queen g4 is just kind of accepting a lost endgame. It's, you know, just a matter of technique to finish this off. But it looks like even rook g8, the attack was strong enough for me to be winning. Alright, so that completes day number 5 of my study plan. Had a really bad puzzle rush score, which fortunately did not carry over into the rapid. Played a rapid game and analyzed it for mistakes. And then day 6 and 7, I'm supposed to study my Yusupov book. So maybe what I'll try to do is either I'll just talk about it in a future video, like maybe on day 8 I'll talk about it. Otherwise, I may try to like pull an interesting position from that Yusupov chapter, assuming I do it this weekend, and show you guys that position. So thanks for watching my OTB Master Study Plan day number 5. Hope you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you in the next video.